Ohio State adds more muscle up front as three-star offensive tackle Aaron Thomas joins the 2026 class.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Thursday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes, and today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. During today's show, we will discuss why the NCAA tournament shouldn't expand, as well as how many tight ends Ohio State needs in their 2026 class. But first, Ohio State had a goal this year of not only adding quality offensive linemen, but there was a number of offensive linemen they wanted to have in this class. Now, around here at Locked On Buckeyes, over the past few months, we have said that number is 5. You need to have 5 offensive linemen in this class. That should be the number every year, but specifically this year. And with the new offensive line coach and Tyler Bowen, Justin Frye has gone to the NFL. You know you're fighting an uphill battle that's going to be very hard to win. But Ohio State's pursuit of quality offensive linemen while trying to hit a quantity number has been very successful. And the latest win came when 3-star offensive tackle Aaron Thomas joined the Buckeyes 2026 class. Ohio State continues to win on the recruiting trail, and Aaron Thomas's commitment continues a trend of the Buckeyes getting quality guys to join this exclusive group. And I say exclusive because not everybody has the chance to be a Buckeye. You may want to commit to Ohio State, but does Ohio State truly want you? And there are some guys out there that, hey, we're pursuing you. All of a sudden, somebody else comes on our radar. We're going to go after that guy heavier. And some guys, maybe they got an offer. Maybe they got an official visit. But at the end of the day, maybe with the way the cycle has gone and the way the pursuit goes on the trail, maybe it goes that Ohio State doesn't accept the commitment. But they did with Aaron Thomas. And trust me, when you watch this young man play, you will see he is very, very talented. He is athletic. He is very natural with his movements and things that show off his athleticism. He has really good feet, and his balance is shown every time he plays. But the one thing about Aaron Thomas that I think is very interesting is that when he was a defensive lineman, he just moved to the offensive side of the ball as a junior. And so when you have a guy that was a defensive tackle, switched to offensive line as a junior, after his junior season, he gets an offer from Ohio State. He goes on an official visit, and then he ultimately lands in Columbus, Ohio. That shows the major upside. Also, the pedigree and his genes work well because his dad, Eric Thomas, was a former Florida State Seminole under Bobby Bowden. He was Chris Winke's center. And to talk about how the high level his dad played at when his dad played the college football. So that's great. And I love that you're following in your dad's footsteps, also being able to play the same position on the offensive line. It's not truly the same position, tackle versus center, but still playing an offensive line position like your dad is very helpful. But also, I think about that. Think about what I said about Jason Witten. Now, his son is a linebacker, about 6'1". Don't have his exact weight at the top of my head right now. But getting a former college football player, starter as well, to get his son to go to Ohio State, and for that to outshine the other schools that were pursuing this talented offensive tackle. Thomas chose Ohio State over Texas A&M, Florida State, Washington, and Texas. The Aggies were the ones that were the biggest competition for Ohio State, who also got that last official visit. You know how it goes when it comes to OVs. If you get the last visit, that may be what sways someone to either go to you or to not commit to you. Sometimes it's that first one. You're trying to measure everything up to the first visit, which is what the Buckeyes got. The Buckeyes got that first visit, knocked out of the park. Tyler Bowen went over the plan developmentally with Aaron Thomas and how his skill set fits what the Buckeyes want on offense. And I think sometimes it gets overlooked that you got coaches that are trying to recruit certain players, and all of a sudden they're going over the details of a player's development, but do they go over how that player's skill set fits what the Buckeyes want or what that school wants for that player? Because if you have a guy that's very, very talented, what he brings to the table doesn't fit what you want on offense or defense, why are you pursuing him? But for Tyler Bowen to just come in and already have 4 players verbally committed on the offensive line, that's another major win. The other 3 offensive linemen currently committed in this cycle, Sam Greer, Maxwell Riley, and Tucker Smith. The Buckeyes currently have 17 players verbally committed to the Buckeyes. Remember, we're looking for 5 verbal commitments at least between the final official visit weekend and, let's say, the end of July. 5 between that time period. And there are a lot of guys on the Buckeyes' radar that are committing between now. Literally, there's one player committing today. We're going to talk about later on in the show, and July 4th. I want to say 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got 8 guys committing between now and July 4th. Not the best thing to count that way over the air, but you kind of see what is going on. There's so many that the count literally started over because Ohio State has a lot of guys they're still pursuing. Yes, there's no more official visits. You're not bringing guys in on campus. Players aren't taking visits. What's happening? You got to make sure that when you had those official visits, you did everything you could to pursue a player and to sway them to come your way, because Ohio State's battling right now. They battle with A&M and Texas for the commitment for Aaron Thomas. They were competing with Alabama and Texas and Michigan and Penn State and other schools out there in Georgia and LSU for a lot of really talented players that Ohio State wants to land. Some of them, there may be 1 or 2 that maybe they don't accept a commitment. But for the most part, the guys are going to go over the next few days. Hint, hint, what's coming up later on the show will be guys that Ohio State wants to add. There's a lot of hefty guys on there too. About 4 defensive tackles, 1 linebacker, 1 edge rusher, receiver, and a tight end. They will be committing between now and July 4th. And it wouldn't shock me if there's more commitments that are going to be coming up between that time period where the player knows they're going to announce their commitment, but it hasn't been made public. That date hasn't been made public, which is fine. What's also fine is how Ryan Day has been maneuvering this offseason. I trust that you might have some of the same hesitations that I have at times with how quiet and abnormal this offseason has been. Think about it. Ohio State's offseasons normally aren't this quiet. Not at all. Now, you did come off a national championship win, which doesn't cover up all of the sins or all of the infractions with the program. Sins just trying to be a word to describe wrongdoings, but it doesn't cover up everything. But, man, when you got that natty, you got all them trophies coming back to the Woody that you earned on the field. You have Ryan Day going around to various interviews and doing various things with the media to help hype up and to boost up the morale and boost up the things going on with the Buckeyes program. Yeah, those things are great. But it's been a little bit quieter than it normally has. And at times I'm sitting around looking to my right and looking to my left. Hey, am I getting punked by Ashton Kutcher? Am I literally just a part of a skit that's going to be shown on the YouTube, not MTV anymore, on the YouTube to show how I got made fun of and I got in the middle of a pickle when I didn't even know it? I don't know, but it's weird. It's very quiet. Sometimes quiet is good. Sometimes quiet isn't good. But when things get quiet, you start to wonder, is something going wrong? Is there going to be a big boom coming up? We got a big boom on a Wednesday evening. The Buckeyes are hoping for another big boom coming up on Thursday, which goes to a question I have about the Buckeyes 2026 cycle, as I wonder how many tight ends do the Buckeyes need in this class? This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Thank you all for tapping in Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. As Ohio State continues to win on the recruiting trail, getting a commitment from 6'7", 300-pound Aaron Thomas, the Buckeyes are hopeful they'll get another win today when tight end Max Sutter announces where he's going to play college football. Max Sutter is a 6'5", 230-pound four-star tight end from Dunlap, Illinois, playing at Dunlap High School. He's a top 100 recruit via 24/7 Sports composite rankings, the number 6 tight end in the country and the best player in the state of Illinois. When you have that, being the best player in your state, and you're a top 10 in your position and a top 100 player, everyone's going to want you, which is why it's no surprise that Alabama's right here trying to pull this young man from the Midwest down to Tuscaloosa. And if Ohio State got a commitment from this young man, it would be big. It would be huge. While watching him play, I saw a lot of things I liked. I mean, trust me, a lot, from his ability to split out wide and basically be a big body receiver, 6'5", 230, but being able to have the speed to run past the guy defending him, being able to high point the ball, literally running routes in the route tree like he's a receiver, not a tight end. He's very advanced and has a lot of nuance in his route running, but also when he's in line as a blocker, buddy, you feel him at 6'5", 230. It's not the guy that's out there trying to figure out how to block. He knows how to block. It was just when I was watching him play and saw the clips of things, I only saw him catch a ball when he was split out wide. I never saw him do it while he's an inline tight end. However, I do think with the addition of Max Clare this offseason and with how I view Ohio State's tight ends in the next 3 to 5 years, I think you're going to get more guys like Max Sutter that are great. And I'm not using that word loosely, that are great on the outside as a receiver, as a receiving tight end. I think you're going to get more guys like that to where, yeah, we can split them out wide and it's not a liability, but it's more of a strength. But guys that can also play the traditional tight end at Ohio State. So for Sutter, he's a really good guy. It would be great for the Buckeyes to land this young man. But how many tight ends do the Buckeyes need in this class? And I think that is a question that is worth asking because at every position, there's a number. There is a number that every coach believes for that particular class that school needs. Quarterback, you always need one. You always need at least one quarterback. There are some years you're going to get two. I highly doubt there's going to be a year that the Buckeyes get three. I had doubts that the Buckeyes would get 3 running backs to sign a year ago. We saw how that went with Bo Jackson, Isaiah West, and Trevor Rogers. All 3 talented running backs signed with the Buckeyes. So there's a number for every position. But the Buckeyes' current recruiting class right now has a tight end already committed in Corbin Fordham, who is a 3-star tight end from Jacksonville, Florida, 6'3", 215 pounds. He's not better than Max Sutter. So I think the obvious answer is one. You need one in every single year. I don't think this is a year where you desperately need 2. I don't at all. But the kicker is with this one, if you get Max Sutter to somehow dodge Alabama and to go to Ohio State, it's not only a massive win, it's also a major boost. And a guy that can get on the field a whole lot quicker than Fordham. As Fordham is more of a developmental guy, and he's also going to be someone that needs to hit that weight room hard. Yeah, Max Sutter does too. He's going to have to put on about 15, maybe 20 pounds, depending on how his body holds the weight and how he's able to maintain his speed and his flexibility out there as a route runner. But I do think moving forward, one tight end is obvious. With the Buckeyes at the end of the season only losing one tight end, well, I don't have Max Clare's eligibility at the top of my head right now. I do know Will Kazmarek is in his final year of playing college football. For some reason, there was a question last year, at the end of last year, if he had more time available to play college football, more eligibility. And I'm thinking, based off the way that I see the things and how we're tracking him from when he got to college football till now, he has one more year left. So I don't know where that narrative came from. I heard it on shows, and I know people were saying it on the social media apps, and I was kind of confused because I saw the same thing a lot of other people saw, that, yeah, you got him for one more year. I know there was an injury and things like that, and he's banked up once again. Been injured quite a bit for his time in Ohio State, which hasn't spanned 2 years, but he's had multiple injuries. Very odd situation. But for Ohio State, One tight end is for sure. If you're going to get two, I would expect for one of them to decommit, unless that other player realizes that two is good, because Ohio State's going to use 12 personnel 100% of the time. Also, realizing every offseason you're probably going to get one Buckeye tight end to go to the portal, not because they're not good, but because the room is so talented. If you look up and down Ohio State's roster at the players there at every position, you can see in the quarterback room, when the portal opens in the winter, almost said spring, in the winter, you're going to get one guy to go to the portal. Devin Brown a year ago, Kyle McCord the year before that. I mean, I'm not going to go down the list. Jack Mill the third as well before that. So you're going to get a lot of guys that go to the portal because, they are realizing that I could probably get on the field quicker somewhere else. I mentioned spring portal because I am not a fan of the winter portal, or even of there being two portal windows. I believe the transfer portal should be either at the end of the season before spring practice or after spring practice, one of the two. And there's enough time between the national championship game, which is probably going to be the third Monday of January, and spring ball practicing in March. If you want to say, well, we want to give the guys enough time to enter the name into the NFL draft, that's your problem to figure out, because the NFL is not going to change their dates for you. Your college football, yes, but the NFL is king, and the NFL has their rules. The NFL has their schedule. I don't think there's a scenario where there's enough people in college football that are going to say, hey, move the draft, move the date. I mean, they've already moved the draft back, a month and a half from where it used to be? I mean, it wasn't at the end of April. Was it beginning of April or March at some point? I don't know, but I do realize, I think it was in March, because I think it was like a month after the combine. Then all of a sudden, now that it's at the end of April, I get confused. I get annoyed because it's too much nonsense going on with draft time. I don't normally do this, at least at this time of year, talking about draft coverage, but after the combine, after pro days, after the All-Star games, after all of the on-field draft stuff is complete, where it's you going to Alabama or Ohio State or LSU for your pro day. And if you're an NFL executive, you're going from this school to that school to that school. Why? To look at these players that you might draft. Once that stuff is over, and you know guys are getting top 30 visits and going around to those things and working out still, doing some of the local combines, some of the stuff just gets old. Because people realize they don't have new narratives to make up. They don't have new opinions to portray to display on the TV. So they're just going to be saying the same old thing over and over and over. And then all of a sudden, when you got something new, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't hit the same. It makes you scratch your head and you're wondering, how did we get here? Well, we got here because you pushed that thing out. You got people working and doing some research with people to try to help them create opinions instead of using your own brain to make that thought yours. And you get people saying crazy stuff. Also, people just say crazy stuff to begin with. Like, it happens. But I don't know how we got there. I do know the Buckeyes only need one tight end. If you somehow get Max Sutter and Fordham to both commit to Ohio State, Corbin Fordham is his name, I think it'll be tough to get both guys to sign. You may get two guys to verbally commit. Will two guys sign? I got a hard time believing that thing is going to happen. Unfortunately, I think we're getting closer to expansion of the NCAA tournament, and y'all, I'm not a fan. This episode is brought to you by Rugiet. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average, in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. Thank you all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. We have talked a lot about college football playoff expansion and college conference expansion, and expansion has been a topic of the town for the past few years. Expansion has been a part of collegiate athletics. It mainly ramped up in the 90s, but even if you go back to the 20s, 30s, and 40s, you're going to see the conferences expanded as more conferences were formed or more conferences got bigger and stronger. They wanted to get bigger, get more teams, and get more consistency in scheduling. Well, that's a part of college football and collegiate athletics that's not going anywhere. Conferences are going to expand. The college football playoff is going to expand. And unfortunately, the NCAA tournament is going to expand as well. We're getting closer to the field of 68 now being a field of 76 as the decision makers that are in charge of expanding the tournament and that decide on how many teams are in said tournament are really, really close to making it a field of 76. And I'm in a weird spot, man. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat this and make you wait to hear how this benefits Ohio State. Because inside me, I can't stand a field of 68. I don't think it should have been a field of 64. Make it a field of 32 like it used to be and let that thing ride, man. Think about the top 32 teams in the country. Hey, I don't care if you won your conference. You're not getting automatic berth in here. No, the top 32 teams in college basketball competing for a national championship. Sign me up for that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And no. It's not, well, you get that on Saturday and Sunday because no, absolutely not. That's not what you're getting. Because there's some upsets in there, and there are some teams that are in the field of 68 that eventually say there's four teams that win the first four. There are teams there that don't deserve to be in the field of 64 or field of 68 every single year. So, no, it's not the same thing. But what irks me is that the almighty dollar is going to impact college basketball too. And this is not only a men's tournament. This is a women's tournament as well. You're going to get more in-depth, more of an in-depth or more roundtable type conversation about this with the Big Ten Squad Show coming up later today. And if you want to make sure you get notified when that thing goes live, follow Locked on Buckeyes on the YouTube, in the Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. And make sure you turn the notifications on. You'll get that buzz or a ring whenever that thing goes live. Expansion, while I can't stand it at all, and I mean truly can't stand it, it benefits Ohio State. It's weird, man. You're going to hear some of this on the Big Ten Squad Show later today. It comes out at 5 p.m. Eastern time. But, man, I can't stand expansion. But if you look back to last year for the Buckeyes basketball team that had a really bad year, even if they made the field of 68, it would have been, maybe brand power or resume that was a little slightly better than some teams that got into the tournament. But when you don't take things into your own hands, you allow other people to decide if you make a field of 68 or not, you can't complain when you don't like the result. But if it was a field of 68, the Buckeyes would have made the tournament last year. And those shows in March at the end of the season or once the tournament started, we're still talking Buckeye basketball, would have had a different feel because it wouldn't have been us discussing the Buckeyes not making a tournament and Jake Diebler's upside and downside and how he got some things right in his first year as a head coach and he got some things wrong and roster rotation and roster retention. And those shows would have been different because guys are preparing for a game and you're not wondering if someone's going to the portal or not. Why 76? Well, here's the thing that I think benefits not only Ohio State, but also CBS and Turner and the NCAA as well, because more teams, that's more money for the NC2A. But also you get whoever hosts the other games, whatever arena hosts the other games, that's more money for that particular arena. That's tickets that are sold. That's food at the concession stand that is sold. That is merchandise that is sold. It is a moneymaker. Why do you expand from 32 to 64? Because of money. Why do you go from 64 to 68? Because of money. Why 68 to 76? Same thing. It's because it's all about the Benjamins. Pretty soon, it wouldn't shock me if about a third of the teams at Division One made the tournament. Why? Because money talks. Also, something I don't think came up on the squad show. Side note, that was previously recorded before this came out, before this is recorded. Is that I wonder if the revenue sharing is something where you're getting powerful people at these schools persuading those that make decisions with the NCAA tournament and saying, well, if we expand the tournament, in our school that didn't really make the field of 68 makes the field of 76, well, we get more money. And that could be money that could just be more revenue that we're making. So we're not cutting into what we're making to share revenue with the athletes. It's all about money. The House settlement is over. I know there's a lawsuit going on between Wisconsin and Miami, which I think needs to happen anyway. But it's all about money, man. There's going to be more lawsuits, going to be more things. People are going to spend more money, all of that jazz. It's about money. All of this is about money. You know what I can't stand? The almighty dollar controlling the decisions of people in collegiate athletics. But also, while I can't stand it, in our lives, money does cause us to make certain decisions. Maybe some that we know we have to make, some that we don't think we should make at times, but ultimately we have to. Why? Because money is a deciding factor in a lot of things. Maybe you want a car that costs over $100,000, but you realize with your budget and the money you bring in, you shouldn't buy that. So you go buy something else. I talked to somebody recently that was trying to buy a car for their son, and when they bought a car for their oldest child, they had to make sure they had to go through some hoops and to jump through, go over some hurdles to try to find a car because they had a budget and something didn't seem right, was a little fishy. And so that's the way things are. Like, I get money causes us and directs our own decisions. But when it comes to this, we know. You know what this does, though? Opens up more jobs. As much as I don't think that the money aspect for them to get more games of the tournament should happen, it does create more jobs because there's going to be more individuals at more arenas at more places around the country to make sure these tournaments are ran smoothly. So, field of 76. When I put that on the graphic, for those of you watching on the YouTube, I knew that I saw that being typed out, literally typing it and look at the computer, and then I hit question mark, and then I saved it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really going to happen. We are really going to have a tournament, a college basketball tournament that has 76 teams. Now, it's not done yet. It seems that it's been reported on that it will probably happen. And when people that are reporting on this say it probably will, or certain decision makers are leaning towards certain things, it's probably going to happen. One thing I know when it comes to hiring certain people, you may hear people or see people that cover the sport say, well, so-and-so is in this, so-and-so is interviewing, so-and-so is interviewing. Whenever you hear that somebody is being targeted, they got the job. Unless something crazy happens, they got the job. Very similar in like recruiting when I will say Ohio State is targeting someone. It's very similar. I use that word specifically because targeting is, oh, you're a priority. You're a priority for us. So I use that word target. Now, Ohio State you could be a Buckeye target and go somewhere else. Like, that's still a thing, but words are very specific. You ain't gonna throw a flag or say offsides when it's a false start. You can, but it's truly a false start. You're not gonna say false start when it's roughing the passer. You're not gonna say flag, personal foul, late hit out of bounds when that's not the call, when it's a chop block. So words are very important. Remember, going forward in this show, I'm going to try to use words very specifically. For the everydayers, you know it. Like, it's a trend around here, but targeted, priority, kind of go hand in hand in recruiting. And unfortunate thing that expansion goes hand in hand in collegiate athletics. And while the Buckeyes would benefit from a field of 76 on the men's basketball side of things, I don't think it's what's best for the sport. Thank y'all for tapping in Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out the portal because my guy, Brian Smith, he's got the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. And he's going to be getting you all up to date on the current landscape in college football, particularly on the recruiting side of things. Tap into the portal and Locked On Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317 at gmail.com. This has been Locked On Buckeyes right here on a Thursday. We'll see you next time.